Welcome to Camden Yards. Welcome back to Orioles baseball. We're happy to bring it to you today.
The greatest thing about a baseball season is it's 162 games long. There are 162 days and nights for something you've never seen before.
An impossible catch! Oh my goodness!
For some feeling that lingers with you, there are swings.
Oh my goodness gracious! That is a grand slam!
There are pitches.
And he strikes out swinging!
There are throws.
Throw to the plate! Out the plate! Oh, what a ridiculous start!
There are moments.
Right field, down the line, grand slam!
There are all these individual details that add up to something that can be magical, something that can take your breath away, something that can take hold of a community or a city or an area in a way that no other sport can do. The great thing about baseball is it's not just a record, it's not just numbers, it's a collection of these indelible moments. And boy, has this team given us a collection of indelible moments.
Unlike the last few years, these are not the underdog, lovable Orioles. They are one of the prohibitive favorites in the American League.
Well, they certainly are.
2024 was a year of massive excitement and massive expectations. I think everybody felt like this is a team that could go and be a World Series team and be a World Series contender. You had the reigning Rookie of the Year in Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman expected to have a big season coming off of an all-star performance. You come into this season and everyone's like, we could be hoisting that trophy and taking a parade downtown at some point.
You know, we had a good year last year. We want to be better than that, and we want to go deep and further. We want to defend the AL East, but we have a long way to go, and we got to continue to get better over the course of the year.
You have a team coming off 101-win season. You have a city that has been revitalized by this baseball team, these young players, these exciting players playing a fun style of baseball. And then you had the week the season opened, by pure happenstance, a new ownership group taking over.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us here at Oriole Park at Camden Yards as we celebrate the beginning of the next chapter of Orioles baseball.
I don't say this too often, I was a little nervous. You're meeting a new owner. That's your first impression of him. Boy, now all of a sudden you're the MC at an event with the new owner and the governor and Cal Ripken Jr. and all these other people, and people kept pouring in. I remember they told me the list of people that I was supposed to introduce, and it seems every 5 minutes that list got added 3 or 4 names.
This ownership group has such deep ties to Baltimore. You understand, if you're from Baltimore or if you live in Baltimore, the connection that the Orioles have with the city.
Baltimore has a closer relationship with its team, its baseball team, than I think any other city does in the country. The team really represents the character, the soul, the grit, the personality of this city in a way that is not really true of any other baseball team and its city.
Change can be exciting and something to look forward to. And hearing how often he spoke about it, even before the purchase, what this meant on a personal level, wanting to gift a team back to its city. And it's not just David Rubenstein, it's every single person who's a member of that group. We've seen them standing on the bar at Pickles, which everybody knows is the local haunt. They want to be fans, and they want to be proud of the product that they've invested in.
I don't think I've ever seen a group of owners on their first day go to Pickles and buy a round of drinks for the whole bar. I don't think there's ever been an owner who's played 2,632 consecutive baseball games. It's a Baltimore-based group. It's a group of people that are not mercenaries, that are not just some rich people buying a team to have an asset. I think it's really special. I think is pretty uncommon, not just in baseball, but across sports ownership. And they're into it. They're invested.
I've always thought that the Orioles represented the best of baseball and the best of Baltimore. And you unify this city more than I think any team unifies its city. And thank you for making Baltimore proud of the team that you have been and that you are going to be.
It is a new era of Baltimore baseball, and one that is surely to be enjoyed.
I can't remember, this is my 22nd year with the ball club. I cannot remember a more exciting opening day and a build-up than this one here. It feels different. What the Orioles accomplished last year, winning the East, winning 101 games, and it's going to be a fun year. I'm looking forward to it.
The ball club's had 71 opening days now. I can't imagine there were more with this level of anticipation, this level of possibility, and this level of pure joy in the city.
Play ball!
It's time for baseball. A 101-win Orioles team a season ago, and it all starts right now. Payoff pitch to start the year. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Corbin Burns in a nutshell. Rutschman, on the heels of a 5-for-5 opening day last year, is 2 for 2 in the first 2 innings.
And it is all Orioles right now, folks.
Santander with a high fly ball into left field, and there is your first home run of the season. Strike 3, and Burns has punched out 8. It's been untouchable. 11 strikeouts for Corbin Burns. Cedric Mullins toward the wall, and Cedric Mullins over it. They're going crazy all over this city. And that will be that. And the defending American League East champs pick up right where they left off. 11-3 Baltimore in a season opener for the ages at Oriole Park.
When you win 101 games, your team's in pretty good shape. You don't have too many holes. But the Orioles had a couple, and they had one right at the front of the starting rotation. They needed a frontline pitcher. And the best pitcher available was Corbin Burns. And this is the new Orioles. They got the best pitcher available. They got Corbin Burns.
Well, if you thought it was going to be a calm week for Baltimore sports teams, it was quite the opposite. Last night we get the news, the Orioles went out, traded for their ace.
Yeah, the Orioles go out and acquire one of the best pitchers in all of baseball in Corbin Burns, so it has just been a whirlwind.
Anything you can say, he does it for us. He's had postseason experience, he throws innings, he's a #1 starter, he changes the whole complexion of our team.
He is the new ace of the Baltimore Orioles, a National League Cy Young winner 3 years ago. The crown jewel of Mike Elias's offseason, Corbin Burns.
I think the Orioles season changed on February the 1st. You go out and you trade for Corbin Burns, arguably the best pitcher in the game the last few years. You go through the first 4 months of the season, he was the best pitcher in baseball. I mean, through the end of July, he had the lowest ERA of any pitcher in baseball, any starting pitcher.
And they picked up a guy who had won a Cy Young 3 years ago. They picked up a guy who had been an All-Star for 3 consecutive years. They picked up one of the premier pitchers in baseball. And they did so giving away a couple of young players in Joey Ortiz and DL Hall, who probably will have really good careers. You gave away 2 guys who might be All-Stars, but you did so because you got somebody who was an All-Star, somebody who could and did start the All-Star game for the first time, somebody who could be, for much of the season, in contention for an American League Cy Young, somebody you can feel comfortable handing the ball to in a postseason game and saying, go give us 6 or 7 innings. And they went and got that guy.
I feel like we need a minute to take this in. Corbin Burns, Baltimore Oriole. And we get to see him hopefully take the ball 30-plus times this season.
At the time, on paper, our rotation was arguably, when we went and got Corbin Burns, the best rotation in baseball.
I mean, think about it. If you have John Means and Kyle Bradish and Grayson Rodriguez and all these other guys, then I think we're all thinking ALCS a bust.
You knew you were going to get Kyle Bradish back at some point. It was announced the first day of spring training that he was going to be injured. You had Grayson Rodriguez. You had John Means, who was going to start a little bit behind too. You had Dean Kramer. And you had a lot of other options that were around those guys. So you're like, well, if something goes wrong, this person can go here, this person can go here. It's all going to be fine.
Before opening to questions, want to announce updates, medical announcements, updates, start and then move to questioning. Hey guys, I'll start off a couple injury updates. If it's all right with you guys, I'll just open it up to questions.
Do you have any injury updates?
I don't have it. I don't have it perfectly memorized, so I was kind of hoping you guys would have specific questions.
You do get Kyle Bradish back, and Bradish was Bradish. He was exactly the same guy who we saw the year before. And I was doing the series on MASN over Memorial Day weekend when he carried a no-hitter, I think, into the 7th inning, and it was him and Garrett Crochet, and it's like, all right, who's going to blink first?
And he put him away. 6 shutout innings for big, bad Kyle Bradish.
And he kept performing, and then you get to the Phillies series, he ends up going down.
After the 5th inning, he came to us and said that his elbow was bothering him. So we're going to get further tests on that. And nothing really else to say about. We're going to get further tests on his elbow.
Kyle Bradish this morning had Tommy John surgery. This is a huge blow. This guy is really a tough hombre, and he pitched through an injury. We were marveling at how well he was pitching with it, and he gave us everything he had.
We lose John Means in St. Louis. I think we're all kind of heartbroken for John. And I know he was trying to get through that game, but you looked at the radar gun the first inning of that game 2 of what was kind of a pseudo doubleheader, and you're like, this sums up. This is not good.
The fastball velo has been sitting right around 88 in this first inning for John Means.
Was John Means okay physically?
Yeah, he had some elbow discomfort, so he was going to get removed after that inning anyways, and he's going to go get some further tests. I want to announce updates on John Means and Tyler Wells. Unfortunately, both players are going to miss the remainder of the season and undergo elbow surgery here in the coming days. Fortunately, I think our staff did a good job finding a guy like Suarez, who's pitching tonight. Knock on wood, I still feel pretty good about the starting pitching options that we have at the moment.
And on the mound for the Baltimore Orioles, it will be the 34-year-old Albert Suarez.
He has been able to step into any role that the Orioles have put him in. He is one of those guys that when you look at a great club, you have these unsung heroes sometimes at the end of the season, and I think big Albert Suarez at the end of it all will be that guy for the Orioles.
I mean, I think you can make the case Albert Suarez is the MVP of the Orioles. I saw him in spring training for the first time. I said, who is this Suarez guy? And I watched him throw a bullpen. I went, okay, he's older, but this looks pretty good. And then he had that outing in spring training. I think he was against the Phillies, over in Clearwater against the Phillies, against their A lineup. And he just went through them like a knife going through hot butter.
He's facing the Phillies lineup. It's an A lineup. It's Turner, it's Schwarber, it's Harper, and it's like the varsity against the JV. I'm like, there might be something to work with here.
And then we bring him up because we have some injuries, and he gets, I think, 3 starts, and then he has to go to the bullpen because one of our guys comes back, right? And he goes to the bullpen, he pitches really well again. Then somebody gets hurt, he has to go back in the rotation, and then some guys come back down the bullpen he goes. It's kind of back and forth, and whatever role you've put him in, he's performed really, really well. Like, he's been a difference maker for the Orioles, and I don't know where they would be without him, honestly.
I really think he saved that Orioles rotation this year because he did things that I think he thought deep down he could do, but the rest of it are just like, all right, when's the jig gonna be up here? When are people gonna figure this guy out? I'm not saying he is Kyle Bradish, I'm not saying he is John Means, but he is somebody that should probably be the American League Comeback Player of the Year with the way that he's pitched.
First, tonight, I want you to call your dad. I want you to talk to him, and I want you to thank him for all the times that he's allowed you to come to the clubhouse. It's time for him to ask permission to be on Jackson Holliday's pass list, because you're going to the big leagues. Awesome. Hell yeah.
That's
all right.
awesome. Yeah, I'm excited. I got a taste a little bit during spring training. Obviously, it's a little bit different now during the season, but I feel like I was able to hold my own, and definitely looking forward to tonight.
The second baseman, number 7, Jackson Holliday.
There's a sizable Oriole contingent down by the first base dugout, which certainly swelled after the announcement this morning that Jackson Holliday would be promoted to the major leagues.
To me, his name isn't Jackson Holliday. His name's 20-year-old Jackson Holliday. It all rolls into one. Everybody else in his class is in the minor leagues, in his age bracket. Almost everybody else his age bracket is in A-ball or below. He's 20 years old.
Being a 1-1 overall, having so much attention coming to the big leagues, expected to do this, expected to do that, it plays on you when you're young.
Strike 3 swinging. And Holliday swings and misses again. And he strikes out looking.
The kid could not get in a routine. Like every day it was 3 or 4 interviews. Every day somebody's chasing him to do this. I felt like he never got into a routine of being a ball player. First time in his life he's ever failed at anything when it comes to sports, right? I mean, kid's an unbelievable athlete. I mean, he hit 600 in high school. He dominated the minor leagues. He got punched in the mouth for the first time.
About Jackson, the decision to option him today, just in general, I want to emphasize that this is a kid that is doing extremely well and is at the very infancy of his major league career. And what we have seen here and had seen led me to the evaluation and the opinion that he would benefit from going back and adjusting there rather than doing it here.
So he goes back down, they give him a few things to work on. They say, hey, we need to shorten your leg kick. I want your swing to be a little more flatter, not so much uppercut. They gave him some things to work on. I need you to be on time on the fastball. He went hard down to AAA and he worked extremely hard on a few things they gave him to work at.
There have been great months this year. There have been difficult months this year. There have been incredible highs. And then the Orioles have gotten swept for the first time in 2 years. So there have been some relative lows.
I think, we had this long streak of winning months, right? And then all of a sudden, July rolled around and had our first losing month. We thought, looking at the schedule, knowing how good the Yankees were and knowing how good the Orioles were going to be, we felt like this was going to come down the wire this year.
Grab yourself a drink and some popcorn and join us at the Old Ball Yard for one of the most pivotal series of the season. The Yankees are in town for the second time this year.
Friday was a day I think none of us will forget. Heston Kjerstad gets hit in the head.
Game and Kjerstad gets hit in the helmet. Oh, that is so scary.
The Orioles had been hit by Yankees pitchers a lot, and somebody had to get frustrated about it. Somebody had to stand up and say something about it, and that person happened to be Brandon Hyde.
Brandon Hyde's going to go shout. Brandon Hyde's throwing his helmet away. Brandon Hyde is pointing at the Yankees dugout.
And so you come off of a game like that, which you end up losing, and you feel like, all right, maybe there's going to be some momentum, some fight that we got to win this game the next day, and it just didn't happen.
And a bouncing ball to first, LeMahieu. Over to second, it's a game-ending double play instead.
And so you come into Sunday, the Orioles are facing Carlos Rodon, who's been kind of up and down since he's been with the Yankees, and they get to him early.
Hit hard, this might be gone, way back in right center, it is out of here. The All-Star Gunnar Henderson delivers a 2-run shot.
And then Craig Kimbrell comes in, and Kimbrell had not pitched in a while. I think it had been not only a week since he pitched, but I think a week since he even warmed up.
Kimbrell, the payoff pitch. And the righty misses high for ball 4. So down to first base goes the tying run. 3-2. Fastball is low for ball 4.
And then Ben Rice comes up to the plate, and he hits a go-ahead home run.
Fly ball, deep right field. Back goes Cowser at the track, at the wall. It is gone, and Ben Rice has hit a 3-run homer to make it 5-3 Yankees.
And I'm like, this is not how we can end the first half, possibly. There's no way you can end the first half like this. And sure enough, Clay Holmes comes back on. There's a ground ball that's hit to Anthony Volpe. And I'm like, ground ball, Mountcastle to shortstop.
Mountcastle hits it on the ground out to shortstop.
And he bobbles it.
Bobbled there at second by Volpe, shovels to second. Safe. A run comes down to score. Cowser is in. Yankees 5, Orioles 4, and the tying run is now at third. And a base hit could win it for you.
You hit a ground ball to Anthony Volpe, it's an out. He's one of the best shortstop in baseball. And so he gives you another chance, and the door is open, and Cedric Mullins is coming up.
Now here's Mullins. Recently has struggled at the plate, batting average at .211. A tying run stands 90 feet away.
And Mullins hits a fly ball into left field, and Alex Verdugo starts breaking in. I'm like, oh no, he screwed this one up.
A flare out to left field. Starting in is Verdugo. Now has to go back. He has to go back, and he misjudged it.
You knew right away that this was going to go wrong. And he started going back and back and back, and it went over his head.
It is over his head, and the Orioles slide is going to end. Mullins is your hero. The Orioles walk it off 6-5.
I kind of lost it because I'm just like, there's your good feeling for the next week. You had all those days off. You couldn't possibly lose that game and feel good coming back for the second half. But that was the little bit that kept you coming back.
To me, they reminded the Yankees, you know, you may be the Yankees, but we're still the Orioles. And I think it gave the Oriole fans something to breathe about.
And Cedric Mullins, your Sunday hero.
I think the best way to put it is they restored order before the All-Star break. They restored order. They let us exhale and get ready for the home run derby and the All-Star game and all those things. And I think we would have been probably panic central had we lost that game before the All-Star break.
You know, the way they played last year, winning 101 games, you knew if they got off to a good start, and they did, that we had a chance to get a lot of guys that deserved to be all-stars. When they came out in the Western attire dressed in the Tombstone outfits, that was pretty, like, that hit home for me. Like, this is pretty cool. Like, I wanted to get in there and join them a little bit.
Even 2 years ago, when the Orioles were this exciting team in postseason contention until the final week, they only had one All-Star, Jorge Lopez. It was a run of several years in a row where they only had one All-Star. Then in 2023, the team's great. A few more players get selected to the game. Then the next step, 5 All-Stars for the Orioles, their most in 8 years since 2016. They get a starter at shortstop in Gunnar Henderson, who's in the home run derby. They get a starter and catcher at Adley Rutschman. They get Corbin Burns, who ends up starting the All-Star game. And shortly after, Jordan Westburg gets selected, and Anthony Santander.
Batting second, the shortstop from the Baltimore Orioles, Gunnar Henderson.
I grew up in Alabama, and when people ask me why Gunnar plays the way he does, you have to know Selma. You have to know small southern towns.
Henderson ranging the other way. He throws on to first, and you have got to be kidding me.
It's not just a moment of pride that you're going to put your town on the map. It's also a moment of, I am going to be somebody.
You can watch this one sail out of here. It's a Gunnar grand slam.
The roots that he's come from show up every single day.
Gunnar Henderson gets his man.
And he throws them out. You gotta believe it. Monster shot. The Orioles have the lead.
He always is going to want more for himself. He's always going to be the harshest judge of himself compared to anybody else on the planet. But Gunnar is cut different.
I mean, can this kid play the game of baseball or not?
Eddie Nate warming up in the bullpen. Catcher, the Baltimore Orioles, Adley Rutschman.
He is the heart and soul. You associate the turnaround of this team to calling up Adley Rutschman.
Rutschman sends that one through the air.
There goes the runner. Throw to second base. Got him.
Adley Rutschman out toward the bullpen, and it's gone.
I don't know if he's the best player on the team, but I think he's the heart and soul. You may even call him the glue.
And Adley scorches one to right. It's a 5-hit game. Rutschman makes a sliding play at the on-deck circle.
And Rutschman crushes this one. Make an RBI double for Adley Rutschman.
He's raised the bar on what our expectations are at that position. And he's the glue.
Rutschman high in the air to right field. Goodbye! Walk-off home run! Game over!
From the Baltimore Orioles, infielder Jordan Westburg.
Jordan Westburg's a tough egg to crack. It's so funny to me because we always joke, especially after the theme of this year with the All-Star game was the Old West and how much he fit in.
That ball driven deep. That ball at the wall. That ball is a game winner! Westburg with a wild, wild walk-off.
Just the tombstone, always deadpan, always one-line kind of guy. I've never seen him react after a bad at-bat.
Smack to third. Westburg, what a pick. One hot throw is in time.
I've never really seen him react after a good at-bat. It's just always the same with him.
Westburg to Mountcastle for the outs.
It takes you for a complete 180 getting to know the multiple layers that are Jordan Westburg.
You could not have placed it any better. Magic from Jordan Westburg.
And outfielder Anthony Santander.
Anthony Santander is one of the leaders in the clubhouse.
And Tony Tater's in the house here.
When I'm in the clubhouse and he walks in, he has a certain walk to him. Things get lightened up a little bit. It's like the atmosphere change. Business picks up a little bit.
Santander goes up to get a high fastball and ties the game! Insane! Santander! Whoa! Had it the whole way!
And to think this guy was a Rule 5 player.
That is going to be caught! Santander!
Out to right field, jumps his back, Orioles take the lead!
When he came up, it was just something different about him. You knew it when you saw it. He had the it factor. You don't know what it is, but you know it when you see it. He's a leader.
Santander high in the air to right field. It's hit deep. It's over! Outfielder number 17, appearing on his first opening day roster, Colton Cowser.
I was on the orange carpet for opening day, and I announced Colton Cowser's name, and people started mooing. When you hear anything that's a boo sound, but not a boo, immediately you wonder, what am I missing? What did this guy do, right? Did he put on Twitter that he actually hates dogs and he's a cat person and half the crowd is booing him? Like, what's going on? Oh no, his name just starts with cow, so they're booing. It's kind of creative, I'll be honest.
Colton is Colton until the day that he dies.
No one talks to me. Gunner, those kids want your autograph. There it is. No, didn't know where my glove was. I found it, don't worry about that. Hey, attaboy, it's transfer right to the hand. Get over, yeah. Attaboy.
The fans have taken to him in a way that I don't know fans have taken to a rookie before. I mean, to have your own branding less than a year in is really remarkable. And I think at times that's what's kept him going when he's had his slumps and he's been able to have the space to work them out and to find his bat again, is because this was never a hostile space for him.
He is such a burst of energy and joy and just silliness. He's just a goofy guy. He's just a big kid who plays with Legos. And he's also a really good baseball player.
And Colton with a high fly ball, traveling back to left center. It's gonna go!
There's your big swing.
The Orioles get just what they needed as Colton Cowser slams one out the other way. He joins the 20 home run club in his first full major league season.
This clubhouse is just different, man. They have a belief in themselves. Even though they're intense baseball players, they're not intense individuals. They're at ease. They're very relaxed. And it makes it easy to play baseball when you have a clear heart, clear mind.
Through it all, this team really likes each other. I think there's something to be said for the minor league experience and for winning together in the minor leagues. The Orioles get a lot of credit, and deservedly so, for finding skilled baseball players. I don't think they get enough credit for finding high-character human beings.
The everyday nature of baseball is different than almost anything. It's different than anything in sports. The thing about baseball is baseball has the grace of the 24-hour cycle. Baseball is a grind, as many people like to call it. It is a battle of attrition, and I think sometimes it is a battle of what side can be calm and collected more often than the other side.
It's game 1 of 2, the Orioles and the Jays. First pitch of 18 innings coming up.
July 29th doubleheader. First inning of the doubleheader. Yariel Rodriguez is starting for the Blue Jays, and he is all over the place.
Urias walks in a run. 38 pitches, 3 runs, 4 walks.
And then you stop thinking about baseball because in an instant, his next pitch hits James McCann, what appears to be square in the face.
Oh no! Up and in, he got McCann in the helmet. And I'm not sure it got him in the helmet. I think that may have hit James in the face. There's blood dripping from the face of James McCann.
It's a horrifying scene. And he's standing there with the trainers and Brandon Hyde for a few minutes. And Ben McDonald and I are doing the game. And we are wondering, why don't they just take James into the clubhouse? And we realize he's not in the clubhouse because this insane person is trying to stay in the game? No, he can't stay in the game. He just got hit in the face. Something has to be broken. There's no way.
And James McCann is going to walk down toward first. I mean, he can't possibly stay in the game, right?
If anybody could, it would be James McCann. You don't think he's trying to set an example for the rest of this team? That's exactly what he's doing.
Well, here he comes. Listen to this ovation now.
When he got hit in the face, we thought, he's done. His season is over. And his day wasn't even over.
I take a lot of pride in being tough and doing everything I can to stay on the field. God was helping me for sure. It's really tough to see, and thankfully I was able to come through with a knock and be able to stay in there.
I think the first thing he said was, if I leave this game, Adley Rutschman has to catch the rest of this game in the next one. Thinks about that when they take a 95-mile-an-hour fastball to the face. James McCann.
He's in the Tough Guy Hall of Fame forever. It's like 18 hockey players and James McCann.
It was a crazy day yesterday. It's been a wild week. The Orioles acquired 8 40-man roster players before the trade deadline, and yet the biggest acquisition today is a name that came from within.
July 31st, trade deadline. Everybody's excited about the deadline, new players, and then the deadline comes and goes, and then Jackson Holliday gets called up.
Day camp day here at the ballpark for this afternoon game. There's a young man who's not too far removed from looking like a day camper. 20-year-old Jackson Holliday Back to the Camden Yards infield dirt.
That's a fun new player. Didn't have to trade for him. He's up in April. He's struggling.
The bases are loaded with one out for a young Jackson Holliday, and he could do something really special here.
And then a couple of at-bats into his return. 0-2 pitch. Right field. Utah Street. Grand slam.
Holliday drills it. Right field. Down the line. Grand slam. The happiest of holidays.
I keep pinching myself, telling me that he's 20 years old. He could be a sophomore in college right now. And so when you see him play, you can dream on Jackson 5 years from now. You can say, what's this kid gonna look like at 25 when he gets this kind of experience? You can dream on him a little bit. He's gonna be a superstar.
And we welcome you to Oriole Park at Camden Yards, where tonight the Orioles begin a 4-game series against the top team in the American League West, the Houston Astros.
Orioles were scuffling in August. Ended up being a month with a losing record. And things looked pretty dire when the Astros came to town, because the Astros started to do what the Astros always do, which is get really hot and look like the best team in baseball. And they come to Baltimore for a 4-game series.
The Astros just feel like that team that you see and they have your number. They're just not a fun group to play.
Thursday night, Corbin Burns against Spencer Arrighetti. Orioles ace, Astros rookie. All right, that's the game you need to win. And the Orioles get shut out 6-0. So now you're thinking this is a little dicey, because now the Astros have the edge. They have Hunter Brown going Friday, who's been untouchable. They have Framber Valdez going Saturday, who's been untouchable. And Friday's going about how you thought it would go.
Strike 3 to McCann, a high fastball. That is a called third strike to Mullins. Cowser swings through a changeup, and Hunter Brown learns his lesson.
They go into the 8th inning, they're trailing. All of a sudden, crazy things happen in the course of baseball season. A couple of runners get on. Gunnar Henderson, it's a ground ball back to the mound. There's a little hesitation. Colton Cowser is dead to rights at third.
And first pitch back to Abreu. Now, what do we have here? I'll go to third. Oh! Cowser's in there!
Somehow, some way, dives back in at third. And now the bases are loaded for Anthony Santander.
Oh, did this just get interesting?
Orioles fans in it, all on their feet across Camden Yards.
We got a situation in Baltimore, and we got Anthony Santander trying to explode this situation.
We've seen Santander in moments like that. End of game, you meet him, you're like, this guy's smooth, confident, collected. He's ready for moments like this.
And that's a drive, deep right field, going back there, explode everybody, grand slam! Orioles lead 6-5. Tony Taters gives the Orioles fans just what they were looking for.
Anthony is such a great guess hitter. And 2-1, he decided he was going to sell it for a fastball. What he didn't know was that that fastball was going to be at his head.
So much for sitting on a slider, huh?
Like, who swings at that? Why swing at that? It's a crazy idea. You're not going to hit it, and if you do hit a pitch that high, you're not going to drive it. Unless you're Anthony Santander.
Now this is the Oriole team from last year. So many times we thought, okay, they're out of it. There's no way. It's not going to happen. One of the best pitching staffs in baseball. And Santander in one swing has given the Orioles a 1-run lead.
Next day, same story. Load up the bases. Colton Cowser, in what might turn out to be one of the most non-talked about plays of the season, hits a ground ball to first base, and I think it was John Singleton over at first base, and he takes forever to get there, and Cowser runs so well, beats it out, otherwise the inning's over.
And a ground ball over to first, Singleton. Cowser dives in! Wow! He is safe! Oh, you gotta be kidding.
Ryan Mountcastle's not available, he hurt his wrist. Cedric Mullins is not available, he hurt his quad. So Brandon Hyde has one shot. He has one chance to use a pinch hitter. And he takes his chance, pinch hitting Jackson against Taylor Scott. Jackson, who's in an 0 for 20.
Holliday first pitch swinging into right center. That's a base hit. That will tie this game.
I think it's a double that's going to tie the game until Colton Cowser decides, I'm going to score from first and win the game.
Cowser's coming home. Oh, they never saw him. A wild ride by Cowser. A 3-run double by Jackson. More bases loaded magic.
Hopefully Santander's hit last night, Jackson's hit today, that'll keep the line moving.
There's nothing like the journey of a baseball season. It begins in late March or early April, or if you're really invested, it begins in February, and hopefully it ends in late October or early November.
We talked a few days ago about 28 guys every single night. I'm so proud of this group. We have dealt with so much crap the last 3 months, and you guys continue to fight. We got in, so let's get it on. We got 5 more games to go to improve, and then it's a playoff. Let's go!
If I'd have told you we'd have 7 pitchers on the IL, I don't think anybody would have bought into that. You lose your all-star third baseman, you lose Mateo, your difference maker on defense, and the ability that he brings to steal bases and what he can do on the base pass. Talk about Bradish, Means, Wells. That's what I'm gonna remember about this team is their willingness to not quit.
It has been almost a year since the Orioles were last in the postseason. The O's and the Kansas City Royals kick off the wild card series today. It is truly a duel of aces as these teams begin their postseason journeys.
We don't know what to expect in the playoffs anymore. I thought I knew about the playoffs last year when all 3 of those teams won 100 more games and they win 1 game in the playoffs to combine. But you got to get there in any way you can get there. And then once you get there, it's about being hot.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. A changeup down and away, and game 1 belongs to the Kansas City Royals.
We got to turn the page and our backs up are up against the wall, and we got to play well tomorrow.
A pleasant good afternoon on this second day of October. It is game 2 of the American League Wild Card Series, and it is win or see you in February for the Baltimore Orioles. And it's down to Gunnar Henderson, and there's a strike left in the game, in the series, and in the season. The Orioles hoping for a miracle. The 1-2, swing and a miss. There is no miracle. There is no win. There is no extension of the season. For the 2nd straight year, the Baltimore Orioles end their season at the hands of an opponent who sweeps them out of the postseason as the curtain closes on the 2024 Baltimore Orioles season.
Whenever you're done at the end of the year, and I felt like everybody knew that we could make a pretty good run this year, and it just didn't happen.
When you look back at a season, when you look and you say the 2024 Orioles, you're going to see the final record, you're going to see the final place in the division standings, you're going to see where they ended in the postseason. It's not going to tell you the whole story.
Cedric Mullins toward the wall, and Cedric Mullins over it! Henderson with a pick. Henderson with the bazooka!
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, and that's usually what he does.
Are you kidding me?
And down he goes. It swings away and blasts away.
This team means a lot. This organization means a lot. This organization is Baltimore. The Orioles are Baltimore. And you'll see that win, not if when this team wins the World Series.
Holliday drills in, right field, grand slam! That is insane! Wow, holy smokes!
This is a baseball town, make no mistake about it. And they're just waiting right now to pop.
Is this heaven? No, it's Baltimore.